Okay, so it's time to cast off another project. This one is kind of a cowl, but you'll see it's a little bit different as you get to the final product. This is another project where the needle length was a bit too short, so everything's super bunched up. This was one that I tried as I went along by moving stitches onto other needles such that I could actually try it on. I wanted to make sure it could go over my shoulders comfortably. I'm hoping in the future to possibly work on a sweater or something like that. So I did not have nearly enough yarn to do that with this project, but it's something to think about in the future. This was another gifted yarn from my friend. Thank you so much. And this was Lion Brand Wool Ease. I've never actually really used this particular Lion Brand yarn. I used to go to Lion Brand, the actual shop down in downtown New York when I lived there on occasion. I used to, on occasion have to go down there, so it was always fun to stop by. I liked their storefront, etc. It was a nice little place. And yeah, it's a really good company, I think, for, your basic staples and stuff. If you like, a dependable cheap yarn. So I do recommend that if you are interested in it. It's not really accessible here in Japan. So I will probably use more Japanese yarns. Well, actually, no, I have a lot in my stash that is not from Japan, but you'll see over time because Japanese yarn, it gets pretty expensive and it's a little out of my budget. But also, I fully intend to not buy any yarn this year if I can help it. So the only way I can get new yarn is if people pay for it, which I'm not really, this lowest priority possible. I have plenty of yarn and fabric and so on. But anyway, so I wanted to make sure I, again, used as much of this yarn as possible. So I started with the neckline and increased a bit as I went down, and I did stripes of 2 rows each, or 2 rounds, I should say, since this is an in the round project again. But yes, a lot of fun to knit, very satisfying to make sure I use as much of the yarn as possible. I weighed the yarn near the end, so there was actually just slightly a little bit more than a skein of the lighter color, so that's why the very last part is just that color, which ends up having a nice effect. But I did ribbing on the top and bottom and then straight stockinette stitches, which means it's all nice and flat, plus the increases on either side of my shoulders. So as you can see here, I looked around because I realized that I once again forgot my scissors. So new video time, I came back with some scissors, and now I had a crochet hook on hand, so I went ahead and wove in that final bit. You have to always do that with the last stitch into the first stitch to make sure it completes the full round. And then I went ahead and wove in some ends there. There are actually still a few ends to weave in at the end, but don't worry about that. It's they're all inside, so they're nice and hidden. If this was a completely wool project, I might be more concerned about blocking, but this is definitely something I'm going to wear in the house only when I am cold, which is all the time right now, especially coming up next month. It's going to be the coldest. So yeah, it's not the best project ever, but I'm happy with it. So let me know what you think. Alrighty.